Ugocha awanzemilize ugocha awanzemilize ugocha awanzemilize oke nkita jisi anyoko awanzemilize ikwe nwanu modo awanzemilize kwanienu na alu emeno awanzemilize.
This is the Center for Research in Igbo History and Culture. Today is Saturday, the 18th of May 2024, and I have the pleasure of the company of some of my friends here whom I would like you to meet.
We're having this interesting conversation, and I think you would like to listen in. But before we start, let us have the privilege of meeting some of our discussants today. So let me start from my right.
Hello everyone, my name is Patricia Ifoma Igbo.
Thank you. We'll leave that at that, but some of you who have eyes, and I know we all have eyes, you will be able to put two and two together. Thank you, Barrister Patricia.
Well, if you want to go that route, so yes, I am a lawyer that has been called in the Nigerian bar in this palace. We call it Barrister and Solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, 1987, and attorney at law that's barred in the New York State Bar in the USA. I am currently on sabbatical from my law firm and public service, serving the state of Anambra as the Commissioner for Transport. And above all, I'm a and when I say I'm a by birth, and incidentally, Mweri now has an international airport, Chinua Achebe International Airport at Umwe. Many of us have read Things Fall Apart, and you hear, when you hear about the airport, it brings us back to the days of Chinua Achebe, that the airport is now named after. But the airport is domiciled in my hometown, Umwe. But I am married as Ndibu. A woman has two
homes.
Two homes.
Like Achebe said.
Yes. So I am from Umweri by birth and Inteja by marriage. And like I said, I am a lawyer and a commissioner for transport for Anambra State. Thank you.
Thank you, Barrister. I was going to say, when you just told your name, is that all you want us to know about you? So thank you for giving us that depth.
Thank you for now.
Thank you for giving us that depth. Yes, thank you very much. The important thing, let me leave that for after. And also with us, let me go to my extreme left.
I think we should just continue like this.
No, let's have it this way. Let's have it this way. Another Amazon, yes.
Me, I'm the main with this.
Are we pulling rank? We are pulling rank.
High chief.
But let me hold camera now.
High chief.
Let me hold camera. So let's start with that. Let's continue with the high chief.
Okay, me. I'm a Princess Ngozi Okoye. Ada Umwe.
Ada Ibonine.
Ada Ibonine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Princess Ngozi Okoye, popularly known as Adaibo. Adaibo Umwere, Adaibo Nine.
Popularly known. It's my title. It's a brand.
Adaibo is a member, a ranking member of the Umwere Royal Cabinet. Yeah. And beyond that, she is also the secretary to that cabinet. She's in the administrator
and the politician.
And politician. Thank you, and you are welcome to our conversation. And also with us here,
Professor Christiana Okechukwu. I'm from Ogidi.
Thank you. Another Ogidi connection. Another Chinua
is becoming the common trend.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I also, if I recall correctly, that in either in Things Fall Apart or in Ogidi, there is some mention of Umwere in it.
We've come to find, currently, on the 3rd of May, I covered a funeral at Okuzu. And when I posted about it on the Umwere platform, okay, I think Sir Chris Nwankwo, whose father's funeral it was, sent an invitation to the Center for Research in Igbo History and Culture. And when that, the invitation hit that platform, and people read that the event was taking place at Ivite Umweri in Okuzu, there was an outcry, Ivite Umweri, Okuzu. People want to say, is it Ivite Umweri, Umweri? You know, what's the link?
Yeah. We seem to have a lot of nexus and connection around Igbo land. Incidentally, my housekeeper wore a t-shirt that said Umwere. And I know she's from Oka. I'm like, okay, have you been to an event in Umwere? She said, no, I have something Umwere. I know Ogunike has Umwere. So many other places, even some, maybe Gasland, Coffee or wherever. There's quite a lot of Umwere in a lot of places. And all those Agogoni. We tend to have a connection. But I know the conversation today is not about Umwere.
It's not, but just to chip away a little bit.
Because when it talks about oracles of the hills and caves, Achebe was actually talking about Ogunike.
You know, my own take in this is that Umwere is a sea. We're the origin of Igbo land. And because of that, a lot of people, like during that old time, some people had to move from here to Ogunike, from here to Okuzu. And then when they get there, they still maintain a bit of their originality.
So what about the Ray?
Ray.
There is a connection. No, there is a connection. Because, okay, this is on a lighter note. When I was in my youth service in 1987-88, there was a family that took a liking to me. It's on a lighter note. And they lived in, then it was in Benin, the former Bendel state. And I was a bit hesitant to be receptive to their overtures. And my mother came to visit, and I was telling her about them. To me, I felt for lack of a better phrase, the Akenokwa. And she said, no, I know Fande Banye, I need to be related. Yeah, so I can't really pinpoint the level of relationship, but they are such that their customs and our customs have so much similarity.
Yes.
That is a fact. Actually, Umweri that we are in is called Umweri Okebo. And we are now we have found it convenient to emphasize that Okebo in order to differentiate between this Umweri and the so many other Umweri.
Yes, but the point is that there is a nexus, there is a connection.
Yeah, certainly.
Yes, but we are the head of what numerous ancillary Umweris that they can be, because those Umweris are domiciled in other towns or other villages, but we are wholesome
So they're like migrated.
Yes, yes.
They were-
They are the Umweris in diaspora.
They are Umweri in diaspora. And what I want to explain is this. When we say Umweri or Kebo, we are referring to that greater Umweri.
Both home and
That greater Umweri, that at a point in history, in the early days, all these places you have mentioned, there is no community especially in Anambra North and in Igbo land that doesn't have at least a family that is Umweri. There at least in every family there's a residual, at least one family.
And for those that understand customs, to say it in the way our people say it now, those Ndumweri in all those places around,
come here
they recognize the relationship.
That this is almost like their ancestral land.
Yes.
where
It's
they,
like
where they get their authority.
where they get their confidence, where they get their spiritual essence.
Yes, that is very true. So we have Umweri in virtually every Igbo community, at least one family. In some places we have a quarter, in some places it's a village. But it's difficult to find an Igbo community that doesn't have at least one family.
I think statistically, this is another research that you have to go and statistically now document.
Yes.
Because we live in a world that we can't just make outlandish
Statements.
But in the towns that we have mentioned,
Yes.
there is a relationship between Umweri and these other towns.
Yes.
Yes. So whether they came from us or we came from them, the major thing is that there is a thread, there is a connection, there is a nexus.
And that brings us, I am actually talking about this because there's a link to
What we want.
what is, you see, because how do we know that in those far distant days, we didn't have paper documents to record these things, but there are records all the same. And you can trace these things through the stories of our people.
Yeah. Yes.
You get it?
Very
The facts of this are preserved
Yes.
In that
in our local narratives,
Yes.
in what we call folk
Yes.
tales and folk stories,
Very correct.
the names of our communities, like we're talking about here.
And as an analogy to what you're
Yes.
saying, my husband, in his stories, and the stories of his fathers and people before him, says that there is a connection and a nexus between Asaba and Nteje. In fact, people from Nteje migrated, that Nebisi is from Nteje. And one would think Anambra, Nteje is in Anambra, and across the river is Asaba, and Asaba is an offspring of Nteje. Another like on a lighter,
not the whole Asaba, but Nebisi.
Asaba itself. The Asaba, Nebisi is
The founder,
the founder of Asaba.
Because I know there's a Nebisi road. Yeah.
Yes. On a lighter note as well, the late Igwe Rolando Debo, when he was about to be made Igwe, his people, rather our people, because I'm married to Nteje, were saying that no Negabu Igwe, like the Igwe is the equivalent of the king, the chief, and Oba, Kabiesi, depending which language you speak, that his wife must be from Nteje. And if perchance his wife is not from Nteje, he will now have to marry a second wife that will be from Nteje, so that he will now be eligible to become an Igbo. And when it was said, the very old men in the community said, "What are you talking about? That his wife is authentically Onye Nteje, although she's from Asaba, because Asaba is originated from Nteje. Therefore, that he met
the
criteria. So it's the history, the oral history that we have even today.
Yes, so it's not so difficult to authenticate these things. And where it concerns us right now is that it is at the root of our discussion today. That is folk stories, Akito. And to guide us in that, we'll need to meet the next person.
I wanted to tap into what she was saying before we get to this stage.
Yeah, so if you just tell us
that that connection that led to Asaba is one of the main reasons we always have that proverb that when an old man dies, a whole library is burnt. Because now you find that those people are dying off. And what you're doing is so great, because if you can record as many as possible before we lose that generation. Our generation, we are still there, but there was a generation before us, and we need to tap into that knowledge. I mean, as a matter of urgency, because if not, we will still be hearing from the white man that Africans have no history. You know, we have a history, just that we didn't record it, and that's why we should be doing what we're doing.
Especially the Igbos.
And that is what you have said is the essence of the Center for Research in Igbo History and Culture, because we feel that the Igbo people have a story to tell, and we feel that we Igbo people must tell our story ourselves until we begin. They said that when the story of the hunt begins to be told by the antelopes, then the whole dynamics change.
The heroes
the narrative change. Yes, the heroes will change. You understand? But as long as the lions and the tigers tell the story,
they tell it
from their perspective.
Or if it's told from the hunter's perspective, the animals, the lions themselves will be victims. They don't have their own story of heroism.
Exactly. So that's why we here at the Center for Research in Igbo History and Culture have taken up the challenge to provide a forum, a platform where the Igbo people can tell the Igbo story themselves. And that is why I have the privilege of the company of the ladies that I'm sharing this space with at this time, because these are ladies of accomplishment, erudition. If you want to take it in terms of education, I think there will be standards, you know, and there are people who have managed to retain their links with the homeland. These ladies have been to the ends of the earth and back, and still they have not forgotten their roots. They have not forgotten the waters that they drank. That gave them, yes.
They were told.
And the stories, and the
stories that helped in their formation.
Yes.
Yes.
Because it is those stories.
That's what we want to talk about.
That
kept us rooted.
Yes. Kept us rooted. Helped us in all spheres of our lives.
Yes.
And we, in our own way, are passing down those stories to our children, which we hope they will pass down to their own children. And with the aid of media today, as we tell these stories, and as we interrogate those things and excavate those memories, then more families, more younger people will pick up an interest in researching, in learning, and in knowing that there is an importance in one's own mother tongue, one's own mother's stories, one's own grandmother's stories, great-grandmother's stories, great-grandfather's stories. Those are the things that aid us in life. You might be sitting in a Fortune 500
boardroom.
And when push now comes to shove, no matter who is there, one of those stories will trickle into your memory, and you will now have an answer to a question that has been like an albatross on your neck, and you will smile and remember and give homage to your ancestors. There is a woman that gives me so much joy. She's late now. Maya Angelou.
Angelou. I was going to just talk about Maya Angelou. I was just thinking.
There is an interview she said she was going. And it was only of recent that it dawned on me what she was saying. She said she's gone to several interviews, maybe she didn't make it and all that. And on one particular occasion, she now went to that interview, not just as her, as Maya. And if you also listen to Oprah Winfrey, she mentions, she uses the same imagery, that she went with everybody. All her ancestors, all her friends, everybody in the neighborhood. So when she got there, she was imbued with confidence, you know, and that story, I'm even having those pimples. When I get to certain circumstances that I feel I'm in over my head, I remember that story that she told. And incidentally, Maya Angelou had been and lived, had been and lived in Africa. I can't remember which of the countries that she lived. So she understands the essence of being authentic, being yourself. And we as Igbo, the way we can be authentic is in the stories that, in the folklores. My professor here will say, just before you came in, was telling us the difference, I will yield to her now, the difference between Iro and Akikiro. Madam.
So let us meet our central discussant.
More of a, not the discussant, but the facilitator of the discussion, because I don't want to take center stage. I want to elicit what people know. So I will practically, not practically, but somehow keep silent by bringing points that will make people debate. That's how I want to have it done, because I don't want just my opinion. I want other people's opinion, because I'm trying to get people to listen to what we have. So we were talking about Iro.
Yes, could you have an introduction first, madam?
I've already introduced myself as Professor Christiana Chime Okechukwu.
Okay.
Remember when we started? Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So, reintroduce. Okay, no problem. So, Iro is the song that we just tell under the moonlight when we just get together.
Like a chorus?
Not just a chorus. One person can start it, everybody can start it like Mbagaba Ajam Bene Mbagaba Ajam Ga 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 Ga. If you're speaking Ga, you say Ga 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 Ga. If your dialect is Je, it's Je 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 Je. And Fudon Kunga, See your Chalone, or Say no Chalofu, and so on. That is just the song. It doesn't come with any story. Or that is ordinary. There's no story there. Yeah, that's the story. Yeah, that's Iro. No, that's Iro. Iro.
But there's a storyline.
He has a storyline, but you're not telling a story. You're just using it as a song. Maybe Akoko if you like, but you're using it as a song. But when it comes to Akoko Iro, I'll tell you one. Okay, there's this story where there's this hunter, master hunter, Dinta, who kept killing animals in the forest and coming home and getting all these accolades. So then he killed a lion and the cubs, and he was named Obuago. So there were this festival in the town, and all that women were coming to marry him, and they said anyone he picked, he will marry. So the lioness, mother of the cub, that wasn't killed when he killed the lion and the cub, turned into a very beautiful lady, and then came to the arena. And of course, would be the most beautiful in the arena, was dancing the best. And this Dinta decided that's the woman I would marry.
So does that bring in the issue of reincarnation? Or?
No, not even reincarnation, just changing its form, changeability, because he didn't kill the woman. The lioness went to look for food, and the lion and the cubs were there, and the deer killed them. So the lioness now turned into a human being and came into the world. You know, in those days, in our stories, there's a mingling between animals and humans. So she came, and the man decided to marry her, but she's supposed to come from another town because other girls came from different towns around because
she was mysterious.
Because the man himself had become famous. So all the women that wanted to marry him were from different towns. So you won't say you know the person, you know the family. But you have to go to the family to know the family. So after the dance, he went home with the woman in the evening. The next day, they were supposed to, in a group, like family, go to the parents to now ask for her hand. The girl said, no, you shouldn't come with her. Their own culture is that you will come alone first, talk to my parents. If they agree, you go home and get your family to now come and then talk about bride price and all that. But she was going to sleep that day with the man in the house. And the man had 3 dogs, 3 very big dogs, and the dogs were loyal to the man. So in the night, they went to bed, the dogs were watching. The woman turned into a lion to kill the man. So the dog started barking and barking and barking. The man woke up, and the lioness that now changed back to a human being said to the man, please, can you please get your dogs out? They are not allowing me to sleep. The man went outside and chased the dogs so like almost a mile away, came back. The dogs came back again. They went back to sleep. The dog started barking and barking and barking again. When the woman turned into a lion, the man woke up again, took the dogs, went to the edge of the village, tied them on the rope, and left them there, came back. By the time he got back, they had broken the chains. They were there again. They disturbed until daylight. So the woman couldn't accomplish her mission. So now she was going to go with the man to their village. So the man would go and meet the parents. So the man was so angry with this dog that he locked them inside the house and left them there and continued going. On the way, when they got to the middle of the forest, because they passed the forest, this woman now turned into a lioness. And the man ran on top of the tree and started calling his dog. Now I'll give you the song that goes with it. Ugocha awan zemilize, ugocha awan zemilize, ugocha awan zemilize. Oke kita jisa anyoko awan zemilize. Ikwekiri mwana modo awan zemilize. Kwanienu na alu emeno awan zemilize. Now he's calling his dogs. So he's calling them now to come and rescue him. He was on top and the lioness was down waiting for him. Then the dogs had him from the house, broke down the windows and started running to him. He kept singing and calling them, then got there and they started fighting with the lioness until they killed the lioness. And then the hunter came down, carried the lioness and took his dogs and went home. So we have...
now he has killed another.
Now, but see...
we are good too.
Yeah, but the point is, what is the essence of this story? What Igbo customs did this man violate? What is going on there? For instance, I can start with, who are these dogs? They are like brothers and sisters and cousins saying, no, we don't want this woman to there's something we have seen that you haven't seen. And then
they can't put their fingers to it.
Even if they couldn't talk, because the dogs, if they could talk, they would say, this is a lioness. But they couldn't talk, they don't know. So he kept chasing them away, but the family kept coming back, the dogs kept protecting him. Now again, when you kill somebody, there's always a repercussion. So he killed this lion and the cubs. The revenge is coming. Their mother, I mean, you can't kill somebody's husband and children and expect the wife to leave you alone.
So
then you go to the other end. Normally when you go to look for a hand in marriage, you go with your family. Why would a woman convince you to go alone first? So you can put in what you want into it.
You know what you just said is the kind of folklore we were told by our grandparents. And then growing up, you look at it, when those ones they say almost close to what you just said, that somebody, a beautiful princess, that wants to get, it's time for her to get married, but she keeps rejecting her suitors. Do you understand? And then she keeps rejecting these tutors till somebody will now come from out of town. Nobody knows the person, but is now very handsome dude and all that. And she will accept the person. They have it in different ways. Like some, the tortoise will turn into a human being. Some, the man comes from the water.
In my folktale book, it was this python. That so it was the python that came and took her.
And even in the English
stories,
the tales,
yes.
That's where you get the prince, the frog that turns into a
prince.
So in most climes, there's that connection, there is that recognition. Because I used to have a roommate from Greece and from China and from India. And sometimes when we're in the kitchen cooking and talking, they tell stories that I could swear it's something that happens, or the stories we tell in somewhere. So there is that interconnectivity of cultures, be it in religion, be it in whether somebody is coming from a first-class country or developing country. We are all connected.
Think of the Cinderella story.
Yes.
We have it in Igbo land. That's it, right? So the orphan that's being maltreated. So there's this connectivity, like you said, to the Cinderella story. And I have up to 3 or 4 different stories that are like the Cinderella story.
Yes, yes. We recognize humanity in those stories.
And then we also use it to, like you said, if you are in that Fortune 500 boardroom and something happens, immediately your mind is taken back to your roots. So like Mwebulako story, where you have to, if you're not smart enough, okay, and then who is the smartest in the house, go for this errand. So you find that they are all connected. If you don't have them, then you are, how do I put it? You are like a chaff in the society. So what is happening now? Are we giving the same solid immersion of these cultures, taking our children to immerse into these cultures? Because you see, it's not a formal education.
Yeah.
It's informal.
Yes.
And it's entertainment. Just like literature is both entertaining and educative. So it's entertainment. And in the entertainment, they are learning.
Yes.
So what's going on now?
Okay. What I think is that we're teaching them. Do you understand? Because our own parents taught us, and it's history for us. It gives you originality. It teaches you the tradition and custom of your people in different aspects of life. Do you understand? So, in a way, we're also imparting it in our children, but the problem we are having is that our generation, and there's a gap now. You see, in our generation, we started from analog. They are starting from the computer age. And the things are nobody has time to sit down for your mom or your dad to sit down under the mango tree and tell fairy tales. But you can still...
Does it really have to be under the mango tree? Because it can be in the living room.
Yes.
It could be in the new media.
It
could be fused into the new media.
But beautiful from home.
From the nucleus first.
Yeah. Beautiful from home before you can be beautiful outside.
You see, when you have this age that we now have, everybody is glued to their phone, you can impact you can try as much as possible using folklores or history or story, even family history is enough to impact your culture and tradition. Like you tell a story to your children about your grandfather your great-grandfather was the biggest hunter, was the chief. That is already telling the history of your town and everything. They can now take that little bit, like Root, where we watched Root. And Root, the only way he survived was remembering what
the stories of the
stories
youth
from the village
and holding on to
and
his
holding
name.
on to it.
I think one of the things I keep referring to people of the past. The late JFK's wife, Jacqueline
Kennedy.
Onassis. I have a quote when I was a younger mother, so a mother of a younger one. And the quote is, she said, when you bungle raising your children, you will suffer for it for the rest of your life. And it stuck with me. And that is what our younger generation have to pay attention to. Life with your family and your career is like life with a glass ball and life with a rubber ball. Your career is the rubber ball. You can take sabbatical, sit down at home, homeschool, depending on which climate you live in, do school runs, let them now get to the university, then you can go back to your career. That's the rubber ball because it bounces. But your family is the glass ball. If it breaks, it has broken. So that goes back to the story, when you bungle raising your children, then you will suffer for it for the rest of your life. The folktales, our culture, our custom, those are things that help to etch the essence of being an authentic human being into our children. So that no matter where they find themselves in the world, they would say, I have a money Igbo. We don't do this. Even when everybody else does the thing and nobody gives a damn, I'm an American, I'm a this, I'm a that. But even in the America, or in the Americas, there is the Italian American, there is the Irish American, there is now the Asian American, and today there is the Nigerian American. So it is that culture that makes you different. It is that inculcation of your culture in what you say, in the foods you eat, in the customs you observe, in the festivals you appreciate. Those are the things that you will now begin to trickle down to generations to come. And then your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren will be proud to say, even if they've never been to the shores of Nigeria, to say, I am Nigerian. The parents have to do the work. The parents are the first teachers. And you do the work with the folktales, with the stories, with the this, with the songs. There's so many ways of inculcating that culture. And if it's possible, take trips down to the village. In fact, I love coming to the village. And it is in the village that I have learnt protocol. And when I watch the Oyibo people do things, I now understand what is being done in the village. The things, the customs of our village is what you see in the elite of the Oyibos. Not those ones that are middle of the road, the elite. If you read biographies, I read the biographies of the Kennedys, and of recent of the Bushes, of our dear Barack Obama. There is nothing, no significant decision Obama takes without going to Kenya. Go and research it. He wanted to marry, he took his wife to Kenya, to his grandmother, to see. He wanted to run for office. He had children, they went. These are things, I know that his father left when he was just 2. Or at least less than 10. But it is that culture that now is in his DNA. Some of us will say, and we are rich now, and when we want to have nannies, you have a nanny that is from Philippines, and your 6-month-old baby is brought up by a Filipino nanny, but you live in Nigeria. You're thinking that that is a sign of affluence. But because we are rich, we now farm out our children to the Filipinos. Not that I have anything against them, because they will not farm out their children to us, no matter how good we are, because they know the French woman, by the child, even if he or she is a diplomat around the world, before the child is 2, the child is speaking fluent French, no matter where they live in the world. And that is what we will begin to do. And the things that gives us a bigger vehicle to do it is the stories, the folklores.
Thank you, Barrister, for that insight. Prof, there's something I've often wondered about, and maybe you could help us a little. Chinua Achebe wrote Things Fall Apart. I understand at the age of, is it 28 or 26?
All I know is that he finished his first degree before. Let's continue, I don't know age.
I think he wrote Things Fall Apart at the age of 26 or maybe 28. It wasn't certainly wasn't 29.
No,
Probably
36. But we can look it up.
When he wrote
that would be an assignment to our viewers to look at.
No, when he wrote Things Fall Apart.
That's what I'm saying.
It was
28.
28.
It's ascertainable, we can find it.
Yes, I have a reason for pointing that out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, it was 28 when he wrote Things Fall Apart. And what I'm thinking about is this: the depth till today. The more you analyze, the more you study Things Fall Apart, the deeper. It's as if layers upon layers of information, cultural information, are revealed. How could he have come up with that kind of?
His first degree is in history, you know that?
Okay.
So he has the written history and the informal history.
And then he has a big sister.
I ask you because I know you are from the same place. You are from.
And then he has a big sister that told him stories growing up. He said it too.
Okay, he mentioned that.
I think that is Miss Bishop Beze's wife, Mrs. Beze. Yeah, the big sister. When she died, I think BBC, I hope I'm not quoting wrong, went there to interview her. So, you know that even our story, apart from our mothers and fathers, when the mother has gone to the farm, father has gone to the farm, who is taking care of us? Not auntie. The oldest sister becomes mama, our mama, and then that oldest sister is the one that sits down with the younger ones and telling them their story just to keep them calm. Just to keep them in the house. Because in those days, if you wander off in the midday, you could be kidnapped. Remember? We are not allowed to go out in the midday. We even have folktales about that. How you meet the spirits.
Yes, at high noon, at Ogolo. Yes.
So your parents have gone to Ago to farm or something. The oldest child, most often the girl, is in charge of the family. Will be in the house, make lunch, tell you stories until parents come back. So according to some stories is that the lady told him a lot of these stories when they are growing up. But you see, many are called, the few are chosen. So there were many that told the stories, but he was the one that is stuck with her. And he built upon it. He studied history, he added, and then he will know the history of the contact that we had with the Igbo culture and the white culture had. And the result of that, moving from agrarian economy to money economy. How, and you know what happened then was, the agrarian economy was your farming, you're bringing farm, and all of a sudden, some people came with white people and they're earning money. So you farm from January to December and everything, put your yam together, they will use their money to buy your farm, buy the yam you produced. You see now, money economy is now superseding the yam and everything. No, if not even trade by barter, just, okay, they were doing trade by barter, so where there's equality. Now, even now, when you check the economy, you find that when we have raw material, and like cocoa, white man can buy it like 1 penny and come back and sell chocolate to us for £1. So do you see? So it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. The money that that has been legitimized, it's not being used to buy their yam. So you don't have money. Now people working for the government, the cutmans have money. And on top of that, any little thing, you have to give the cutman bribe. From the little money you realize from your farm again. See? So that's
cutman for
the cut clerk. So cutman is the cut interpreter. We even have choke where Iloma Jogoji will be interpreting for him. And even in this party said, they don't even know our language. How can they know our culture if you don't know our language?
Well, that is as much as we can take this segment of the conversation. We will take a break now, and when we come back, we'll be taking a look at Things Fall Apart and his portrayal of the coming of the white man and the crushing impacts of colonialism on the culture and worldview of the Igbo man. Thank you for joining us, and do stay tuned. We'll be back.